Alright, welcome back friends and neighbors and friends. Thank you for tuning in. Today I got the 2019 Cascadia behind me with the DD15 in it, and we are going to do an overhead adjustment on it, or a valve adjustment on it. So I made a video a couple years ago with my 14 Cascadia with the DD15, and I'm going to try to be much more detailed on this one and go through every little step and try to show you the way how to do this. So follow along with me and we will get the procedure started. Here's some tools you're going to need. Most of the bolts on the valve cover are 13 millimeter. You've got one bolt up there that's, what is this thing, 13/32. Straight head screwdriver, 17 millimeter wrench, and then on your torque wrench you need a 17 millimeter socket. That's what the nuts that are on top of the valves. If I'm not mistaken, that's about it. So first of all, you want to clean your engine off, and we'll blow this off. And because I really don't like to get my engine wet, just because there's so many electronic things, I just take a blow gun and blow it off. So the first thing we need to do is get this air filter housing off. So you've got two bolts right up in the front. You got that one bolt right there. And then I don't know if you can see that hose right there? That hose has to come off. I need to put my phone back there. That hose has to come off. It's attached to the back of the housing. So that's got to come off. So we'll start there and get the job started. Probably if you have a magnetic tray, you might want to use that. Don't want anything rolling off. Like I mentioned, almost every bolt that holds this on, holds your valve cover on, and all the accessories and everything is 13 millimeter. So I just use a 1/4 inch drive ratchet because you don't want to go crazy tightening any of this stuff. So there's two nuts down. Get the back one here. Intake clamp, and once we get this off, I put a plastic bag over this because you won't have any kind of protection from dirt or anything that might fall in there. So you're going to have a straight shot right to the turbo. You don't want stuff getting in your turbo. There we go. So that rubber hose we'll just pull off. That's it. Come on. Okay, so now that opens up things a lot. So starting off, these brackets right here, all they're for is just to hold the air filter assembly off, and then this plate is what holds this heating manifold. This line right here is for your DEF tank. It's coolant that runs to the DEF tank so it won't freeze. You've got, not sure which one's supply and return, but you got one here and there's the other one right there. So make darn sure you don't touch that. What you're going to have to do to get this plate off is there's 3 bolts. You're going to have to go down in here, straight through here, 1, 2, 3, and then this piece right here has a nut welded on the back of it, so you don't have to worry about grabbing a nut. It's just a bolt that threads into it. Plate comes off. Things like I was talking about, this stud right here, this nut will come off. Lift this out of the way, and then that whole stud will thread out. And there's a couple more. This little bolt here, that's the only thing different. It's 3/32, or I'm sorry, what did I say, 13/32. Sorry about that. And then you've got a nut back here you got to take off, and then there's one over on this side, and then this box will come off. So maybe I can set you up. I'll show you how you take this loose. there it is. So you squeeze this together, and then this will pull off. And this hose can just stay right there. So now we need to work on, so like this little clamp here, that holds that coolant line in place. Just be very careful. Try not to disturb anything you don't have to, because like I said, this is plastic and it's brittle. And I broke one a couple years ago, and it's not fun to replace that. It's about 15 foot of plastic line that's got a thread through there. I've got I guess this is an air filter for the air compressor. There's that hose runs to this from the back of the housing, goes through this, comes out this side, goes in that pipe, and you can see that pipe right there. That big metal pipe goes down into the air compressor. So it's a little different than the previous generations, but that's what that box is. I assume is just an air filter, because for the air compressor, or some kind of just separator or something. I don't know. Like I said, my old one didn't have it, but I looked at the piping. It's coming right out of the back of the air box, going into that pipe and down into the air compressor. So that's what it is. So I took that metal plate off, and I've got my manifold loose. As you can see, the 3 bolts I took out, they just run in through this way into that plate. I took the plate off. Got all the bolts loose for everything. You can see these are the ones I was talking about, some of the studs. This is a stud, and it's got this spacer to keep it off the plastic. So you just take these spacers off. And then these are capture bolts. I've got everything loose, but these aren't capture bolts. These come out. The shorter ones go in this part of it. The longer ones, I have to go through all this material. They're a little longer. So just remember your longer bolts. That's where they go through this thicker part of it. And so I've got everything loose. There's that hose clamp I just flipped up. Here, this is captured also. Got everything loose back here. I've got that one little clamp off of the DEF tank heater line. The box is out, so ready to take everything apart now. So we'll just take all the loose parts, put them in our tray. And then this bracket just lifts off. And then the other one does the same thing. So I'm going to get all this taken loose, and I'll get back with you. Sorry about the sun, it's bright out here. So I'll just go ahead and, yeah, have a magnetic tray. It makes it easier. You can put your sockets in it. You know, say you only need a couple sockets. And the other thing I didn't mention before, this is the tool to set your Jake brakes. This is the, what's that say? 4.6 millimeter. The older ones take a thinner one, but this generation. So this is a 19. It was built in 18. It was built in June of 18. So this is a 4th generation Cascadia. So they've changed them a little bit. This actually, it's a lot easier than my old one. If you see this cowling right here, it's shorter. So the older generation, really, you had to get way back in here and this cowling was in the way, so they've made it easier. It's much easier to do now. So I'll get this taken apart, and then you can see what the valves look like. So this right here is your crankshaft sensor, and so you pull that out of the let's see if I can get you a shot. Can you see that? You pull it out of the bell housing right here. Where is that? Oh, wrong one. Right here. This is where that sensor goes, and I can pull it out because I guess I'm pretty much done. What this is a timing pin, and that little end of it right there goes into the flywheel. Once you've got it marked on top dead center, then that won't let it rotate. Sorry, I'm not a very good cameraman, but right here where I'm touching, that's where you put that. And then here's your sensor. And it could use cleaned off anyway. So here, right here is the inspection cover. You take that off. Let me see if I can. I need to get some light. Can you see her? There we go. Okay. This is marked up because I took a screwdriver and that's how I rotated it. But here's your marker, this little piece of metal right here, how it's notched over. And this is part of your flywheel, and you'll see that little dot right there. Pardon my scroungy dirty finger. But you put that dot right in the center of this marker. You do your rotation once. You do like I was saying with your valves. You put it on this, then you put your pin in, and you'll know you're good. You go up and do your valves. You rotate it 360 degrees, put it back on this dot, and then you're ready for your second cycle of valves, and you pin it. So we've got the engine timed, and it's either going to end up on your first cycle, your second cycle. Let me back this up. But how you know is which valves are compressed. So this first one's 1, 2, 4. Let me get down here. 1, 2, 4. On the intake. You can see that you can't do number 3 because it's compressed. So the valves are actually down, so you can't adjust them. They have to be loose when you do it. So that's an easy way to tell. 1, 2, 4 on intake and 1, 3, 5 on exhaust. So you got 1, 3, and 5. So I've already adjusted these, but I'm going to go ahead and double check them. And I've got my 2 feeler gauges here. Try to get you in the shade. So I just took 2 of them out of the pack. So I know the thinner one's intake and the thicker one's exhaust. So the 2 feeler gauges you're going to need is, I don't know if you can see that, 16 thousandths, and or I think it's 0.4 millimeter. And your exhaust is 24 thousandths or 0.6 millimeter. So you can just feel of them real quick. This one's a lot stiffer than the other one, so you know this one's exhaust, your other one's intake. Now we did a 360 revolution. We're back on time, back on top dead center on the second rotation. So now intake 356. So these should be loose. I'm just double checking stuff. So I've already adjusted them, but I'm just showing you. It might be a little tight still. That's why we're double checking. Yeah, it's not bad. So I'm just kind of doing that as a, just showing you as an example. So now I'm going to set our torque wrench to 37 foot-pounds and do 356 on intake, just to make sure we're good. Don't want anything falling apart. Okay, intake's all tight. 246 on exhaust. Let's torque everything down, make sure we're good. Okay, now we know every bolt's tight. I even checked the engine brake. I'm not sure if I showed you that or not. I know I showed you the tool. But how you do your engine brake, let me see if I can, yeah, we're bad in shadow. This nut right here, this is on each one of the exhaust rockers. This bolt is where you do your Jake brake adjustment. So it's impossible to probably see in the camera, but this roller right here, let's see what you can see. This roller right here on the intake, when the cam is at its highest point on the roller right here, that's where you do your adjustment. And this tool just slides right here. There you can kind of see it's not set right because we're not, yeah, the cam's on its way up. But this is where you make your adjustment right here, and you want that just to act just like your feeler gauge does. Back this off just like you would any of the other adjustments. You really don't need an Allen wrench unless one of these valves is so tight you can't grab this by hand. Then you would need your Allen wrench just to back this off. But otherwise, if they're fairly in spec, you won't even need an Allen wrench for this. All you'll need is your 17mm socket, and that's really about it. So you can see I put my bag and I just put my clamp back on the intake. That's how I do that. So I think what we'll do now, all that's left to do is put the cover, take the timing pin out, put the cover back on, and then put everything back on here, and I'll run a time lapse and you can kind of see how I put it back together. So the job's completed, pretty simple, and all that's left to do is put it back together. Go, finished product I'll put back together. I did a time lapse and it took me 37 minutes, and that's counting going underneath and putting the inspection cover back on, and I took some battery cables loose to make it a little easier to get in there. So we're all put back together, and I think I'm gonna give it a start and see how it sounds. Another thing that I forgot to mention, you want to do this when your engine's cool. It'd be nice just to park it overnight. Maybe take everything loose the night before, and then it's sitting there ready to go. So you want to do it like, you know, a nice day, 70, 75 degrees. You definitely don't want to pull it into a shop and do it while the engine's hot. So just thought I'd throw that out there. So let's start it up and see how it sounds.